basically there's three parts. There's the preferences part, there's the apps part, and then for developers, there's some developer settings. So in the first part, it's just everyday system preferences. Open up paultman.com. I'm going to go to posts. I'm going to look for my post on setting up a Mac. So here we go. Setting up new Mac. Here we go. New Mac setup. So as I said, this post, it's more about just basic system preferences. So nothing very technical. It's mainly a few defaults that are not as usable that we're going to go ahead and update. So let's see, system preferences and basics, easiest, most useful part, trackpad, keyboard, etc. First open system properties by clicking the Apple symbol. Okay, so Apple symbol, system preferences, get to the right here. Let's start with, we're going to go with the trackpad first. So there's the trackpad. Yeah, I will say this, the default settings, the trackpad, the arrow, the pointer is really slow. And I do miss the point to click, or tap to click. So when I turn that on, look up force click. I really don't use that a lot. If you use that, then you might want to keep it open. But for me, it's just not useful. Tracking speed, certainly want to turn that up. It's on this low resolution, but when I'm on a 4K screen or even high resolution here, it's just not very usable. Updated that speed, updated the clicking, more gestures tab, so to the right. All right, so first rechecked, last four, prefer hot corners. So swipe between pages, that's fine. I don't use a whole lot. I don't use these first three very much, but let's just keep them open. I did update this later and go with Launchpad. I don't use this either, but maybe having the option will make it more, I'll use it a little more. Next, return to system preferences by clicking the left arrow, mission control. So here I do use these quite a bit, these hot arrows. So first, let's see, mission control, leave the defaults, and then click hot corners, bottom left. Take a while to get used to, so bottom left. Okay, here, these corners, basically when you move your mouse to a certain corner, you'll just automatically trigger some of these programs being run. So for example, top left, I like mission control. Bottom right, I like app windows. Bottom left, I like my display to sleep. Bottom right, I like to go to desktop. So what these will do is, if I want to get to mission control, so that's going to give me all my windows that are open, I just move up left. So bam, that's up left. For my current app, if I want to see all the windows of that current app, I go top right. Obviously to show desktop, bottom right. And then to put the display to sleep, which I won't do, but bottom left, if I want to go get a coffee or something like that, I'll just quickly drag my mouse to the bottom left. So those are very useful for me. A lot of people like to use their trackpad to do some of the same motions, but I find that sometimes I accidentally trigger those when I use the trackpad. Let's see. So we've got our active corners done. Return to main preferences by clicking, go back to the main preferences. Now for keyboard, let's see, here it is. For the keys, sometimes I want a faster repeat. In programming, a lot of times I'm using Vim, which I'll use the keyboard to do navigation through code, so speed that up. But anyway, any person is probably going to want a faster. If you hold down a letter, you want to repeat that key numerous times. And for the delay, I don't want to take much time. I'm going to go to short. For some of these settings, you guys might want to try them and then later back them off a bit, or find the setting that works best for you. But I've been using Macs for 20 years now, and I'm going through the preferences that I prefer, and I think most people would as well. So we've got our key press stuff here, main preferences by left arrow. Now we're going to go for the display. So because I'm doing a screen recording, I'm not going to change my resolution. However, for you, I would normally go to scale and then click on more space here. More space, and then under night shift, I usually like sunrise to sunset. It will reduce some of the blue light from the display. Next, let's see, left arrow. Now we're going to go with the dock. Most of the displays are this 16:9 or 16:10. Basically, you get a lot of horizontal space, but not much vertical space. So in that case, I like to keep as much of my vertical space for open documents as possible. So I like to put my doc on the left side. There it is. And let's see, so size is, I usually keep the size default, magnification, fine, I don't really deal with that. Pretty much nowhere else in here do I make any other updates. Let's see. Okay, now we're gonna go with some iCloud stuff. Here, you're gonna open iCloud. Yeah, typically I do turn off iCloud Drive. Let's finish that out. Now for the Finder window, so let's open Finder. In this left menu here, you see I've got apps, desktop, documents, etc. So I'd like to put my home folder here on the left. Go to Finder Preferences. Sorry about that. Preferences. Why do I keep doing that? Here, I'm going to show sidebar, and then I'm going to make sure everything I want is there. So pictures, I'm going to put that on the left. iCloud Drive, I just don't use iCloud Drive much, so I'm going to take that out. Hard disks, internal disk, recent tags. You know, I do not use tags, so I'm going to take that off. So now I'm then going to click Advanced, and here I'm going to show keep folders. So I want to go, I want it to organize automatically my desktop, and whenever I'm looking at items in a window, I want to have the windows sorted by name with folders on top. So if there's a bunch of icons and folders in a certain folder, I want the folders to be first. That's going to be about it for that. And when searching, I want to search in the current folder first. Go, okay, now we're getting into apps. I think most people are certainly going to want to install at least these, 5 apps, and then I go into some other apps. Rather than going through and pulling them from the App Store, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Homebrew, which is it's a program to basically automate. What Homebrew will do is look at the repositories of all these apps, find the latest version, make sure it's good for whichever computer you're installing it to, meaning, you know, an Intel or an Apple Silicon app, and it just makes installing apps a lot easier. So in this case, I'm going to want to get Homebrew itself, so I'm going to copy this command line article. Okay, this is going to be a little bit weird because I'm going to need to go into terminal. Oh, you know, my doc, another app that I'd like to keep in the dock, or another folder, is the applications folder. So what I'm going to do is I've got Finder here open, and there should be, here's applications. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this right into my dock. I'm going to keep it, let's see, preview. Yeah, I like to keep it down here. So I'm going to keep it at the top. So I just dragged it right into the top. So it's still here in my Finder window, but as well here in my dock, I've got applications. So in this case, I'm going to scroll down to utilities. Then I'm going to go with terminal. Now, I personally do replace terminal with something called iTerm, but if you're not a developer, then this is going to be fine for you. If you're not a developer, you can go either way. You can either download these all individually, or you can do it this more automated way. Even if you're not a developer, I would say you might want to still go with this this automated way, which is the one that I'm going to show you here. So I'm going to copy this line, paste it right into terminal. You can see here. Now, what is this doing? This is pulling down. This is going to be pulling down from this URL of, let's just show you here, GitHub. So it's going to be going to this Homebrew repo, which is in GitHub. It's going to be getting this one file, this install sh, so it's a bash script, and installing Homebrew via a bash script from a file that's in GitHub. And it's going to be running that file through the bash interpreter. So let's do it. Sudo access. So you are going to need to put in your computer password there. So it's saying that command line tools is going to be installed. So what are command line tools? You see this Xcode command line tools thing here. That is basically Xcode is the Mac development environment. Initially, it was a lot for the iPhone itself, and as well, people started using it. Well, it was probably always used for Mac development as well, but more commonly for iPhone development. So it's got a lot of tools in there, like version control tools, emulators, a bunch of, well, Xcode itself has a lot of tools. However, just the command line tools, those are basically some utilities that Xcode comes with that we don't need all of Xcode. So we're just going to get the command line utilities part of Xcode because we do need some of those Homebrew needs some of those utilities. So here it's downloading, here it's downloading command line tools, installing. We're just going to give it a second. I might fast forward through this section. Homebrew's installed. So there's a few ways to do this. The easiest is going to be just to copy paste this brew command here. So I'm going to Control C, or Command C, and paste this one. So as I had mentioned, you can manually go to the website and download the file. You can go to the App Store and download these files, or you can install via brew. In my case, I'm going to simply install via brew since it's a lot faster, and there are a bunch of apps that I want to install here. So I'm going to then, by the way, when you do install with brew, it's just like if you had downloaded the program from their website. It's going to put it into your applications folder, set everything up for you for the proper default settings. It just makes installing apps a lot easier. And keep in mind, brew is written by normal, Mac users who really love their Macs and have some expertise in scripting. And they're going to be, the community itself keeps up, with versions and bugs and everything. So it is a maintained project, and if you go to GitHub, you'll see it's quite popular. So I've got my copy pasted my brew command, so I'm going to hit enter. It's now going to install both, all this Evernote, Google Chrome, Grand Perspective, and Zoom. While we're waiting for this, I can chit chat about what these apps are. I think most of you have heard of some of these. For instance, Evernote, easy to use note-taking app. I use it. The free version allows for two devices, so I use one on my laptop and one on my phone. Google Chrome, obviously, for a second web browser, it's, to be honest, probably the most popular web browser right now. Grand Perspective, a lot of times when you do start to run out of space, you want to figure out, where am I using the space? Which files are so large? So Grand Perspective gives you this kind of top-down view graphically of where your hard drive space is being taken. Zoom, we're still in COVID, and Zoom is, where most of us chat. Now this second section, these are apps that I feel like they might be a little more particular to me. For example, Slack, maybe you and your team use Slack or not. WhatsApp, maybe you use that, etc. So these are apps that are a little bit more personal to me. And if there's a few that you like, you can still use this Brewcask install. Actually, did I do a Brewcask here? Yeah, I did. Cask means that the program's got a GUI component, basically a graphical user interface. Without Cask, it's going to be installing typically command line utilities. So in the developer section, I'm going to be doing that. However, for this, just more general preferences section, I don't do that. Let's see here. Yep, so it's getting Google Chrome. You can see where's it getting from. It's going to google.com. So getting Google Chrome. Those were all my programs installed. Okay, now this, for me, I'm going to install the rest of these here. The next video is going to be on using dotfile. So it'll be more for developers. As developers, we use a lot of programs, and a lot of programs use this thing called dot files, which are basically preferences for that program in a hidden or kind of hidden place, which is any file that's preceded by a dot, a period. So it's period vimrc, period git config, etc. So for that guide, I'm going to be walking through setting up a new Mac for developers, using an easy way to do that, which are dot files, which I've committed to Git repo. So for developers, you're probably going to want to check out that next video as well. Here we've got, you see it's already installed Slack, it's installed WhatsApp, Discord's downloaded, now it's installing Firefox. So pretty easy process, recommend everyone check that out, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.